Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the secrets of sorrow's grave.
Now, there's only a few of you that are allowed to be here. Only a limited amount. Everyone that presses on this video, we've allowed you to be here, just so you know. This is a secret we don't want everyone to know this.
A wise man once told me, Luke, keep secrets locked away and invite them in when they're here to stay.
Who is that from?
Gandalf.
I like Gandalf.
Lord of the Rings 4. It's actually just him giving me a key. It's a
3
5,000 FPS slow-mo shot of him handing me a key. It's a real artistic take on the whole key thing. No, but we're giving you the ins and outs. This is for the filmmakers. This is for the fans that want to know.
This is for the artists.
How did they do that shot? Well, this is when you're going to learn. This is when you're, frankly, getting the secrets to a sorrow's grave.
This is the secrets.
This is
not
the
just
secrets.
a secret. 1, 2, 3 secrets. The secrets.
This is all of them.
All of them. Every single one we can think of. What we learned.
So, yeah, we're going to be covering what we learned, the story, behind the scenes of shots, people that helped us out, how we did things, production. We're going to be touching on, at one point we were going to, and this is going to be a heartbreaker for a lot of people, going to get a movie theater for this. We'll jump in that later on. We don't want to touch on that now. We're going to give a little update. But jumping right in, A Vendetta's Debt, Part 2, Sorrow's Grave. So, A Vendetta's Debt was told in a non-linear way.
Yeah.
Very, very bad. I don't know if non-linear really helps.
No, it doesn't.
I kind of learned, does it really? Think of a non-linear
you're doing
movie.
something that's,
Memento.
trying to, bend your mind, I don't think there's much of an advantage, because it leaves a lot of people questioning, what?
Yeah.
But, not in a good way sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of is... Tarantino tells non-linear stories. Yeah. But if you tell them linearly, that's a fun word we've been saying, I don't know if it really, it doesn't matter.
No,
really.
I don't think...
It's just that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think it, affects it at all.
It's like a flex that doesn't matter.
It's
flexing that you don't...
Yeah, if, you watched, I don't know.
I have a metaphor for this.
Okay, go with the metaphor.
It's one person has $20 and the other person has 4 5s.
Yeah.
And it's flexing that you have 4 5s to the $20 person. It's
I
have a 20, but I have it just in a different way.
That's a good way to do it.
And then they're like, oh, that's so artsy. So we told Sorrow's Grave in a linear way, and I think it benefited, at least who I've talked to, the visual storytelling. It felt very clear what was going on, which for once I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, I think that that was done well. I think... Wow, I completely blanked. Actually, no, I knew where I was going. My mom, she never follows anything. Mom, I love you, but she has a hard time following stories, basic ones. But she followed this one, and then it was funny during. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. So you can
we'll link
understand.
It below as well.
But the scene where the shadow comes up with the gun, my mom goes, "Oh God!" And she's like, please no, Adrian's such a sweetheart, don't do it. She kept just saying, Adrian's such a sweetheart, he would never do that.
Yeah, that's the one thing, is the illusion of these characters can only go so far as everyone is 18 and 19 years old. So it only can go so far. Especially if you know Adrian, who did an incredible job. You know Adrian.
Oh, Adrian's the biggest softie sweetheart.
The biggest sweetheart teddy bear would never hurt a fly, and is supposed to be this gangster.
Yeah, that's killing, and he's...
So, if you don't know Adrian, he's a bad boy. He's
yeah,
so
as
bad.
Far as you guys know,
he's
that
an
don't know
actual
him,
gangster.
He's killing people.
But for those who know him, we know he's a lover. He's not a fighter. And that's something I do want to touch on briefly now and come back to later, is the emotional performance by Adrian was incredible.
Oh,
he stepped it up like crazy. And I will say, Sam and I before were like, I don't know Adrian. He's only acted once. Do you think he can? And this was for Adrian too. Is do you really think I can act sad and emotional? And he brought his A game. He was ready every day to put himself through 6 hours in the summer in a full suit to sit there and cry for the shot. He had to put himself, if you don't know, if you're an actor or filmmaker or whatever place you are in your filmmaking journey, or if you're just a fan, actors, the key to showing those emotions, at least for most of them. And everyone has a method to their madness.
Yeah,
but it's like method acting. It's putting yourself in that spot. So it's Adrian. Think of these horrible things happening to you, and put yourself in that mindset.
And we're like talking to him. So it's like you're not only putting yourself in that situation. We're like, all right, now try and cry more. Now look a little more sad. Look more frustrated.
Yeah.
So you're like getting these things said to you. You have to listen to them, and then you're also trying to produce these tears, which he had a funny method of.
Well, so he cut onions.
Yeah.
It didn't actually. None of the tears were onion tears, really. It got his eyes watery. He sat there and cried. He sat there and would all those tears. He has the blank right
before. Forget Tom Hanks. Forget Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, forget them all. Adrian is king. But I'm obviously like Adrian's still learning, and Adrian still doesn't know, and I know. He's like, does he even want to be an actor? But to put yourself through that was incredible, and it saved, like, if you've seen a Vendettas debt, which here's where there's some of the pros and cons, which we'll talk about, is like, why do we need to care about Hitch? There's no reason. That was because Sam and I had this long plan. I mean, we didn't have a long plan. We had a short plan to make it longer.
There was like a plan, and then we kept trying to plan, if that makes sense. Like,
well, we'll break it down more detailed.
Yeah.
We had a Vendettas debt. We're like, let's come out with Sorrow's Grave. Okay, this will be a sequel. It's telling in a linear way. Then we're like, all right, well, we can go play this in a movie theater. Let's combine the movies, put a Vendettas debt in a linear order, go back and film a scene with Hitch and Adrian to show their friendship, which I think could have been a really cool 50-minute movie.
And to establish the dog tag.
Yeah, establish the dog tag early so you know that's something they care about. But it was just like I told Sam, it's like we're patching holes.
Yeah.
We're like, we need to move on to our next project. It was really hard mentally to sit there and film and write and to be like, oh my gosh, like the poker scene we shot that was the most mentally challenging. The first day where we dug the graves, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I really felt good on those scenes. But everything else, like going to my grandma's at 9 until 1 in the morning, those killed us.
Oh yeah. Everyone was tired. I mean, Adrian, Luke and I are psychopaths, and we've done the 9 to 4 a.m. and we've done that. Adrian hasn't experienced that, and he still showed up. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, occasionally you could like see he was tired, but he didn't let it affect him really. He still, I mean, props to Adrian for this. He stepped it up so much. He did an incredible job.
Well, yeah. I mean, you take someone that hasn't ever acted before, never even practiced, and Adrian, a lot of times, which I also think if you're working with someone, you want to make them emotional, you need to remove any distractions. That's something we had. Like we had Bryce and Trevor on set to help one day, or even when Grace was there, and she did a great job too, showing up to those scenes as well to help, was moving. Like you guys would just walk away.
Yeah.
Like at one point, it was almost funny because they walked so far away.
It was me, Trevor, and
Adrian and I sat there, and I was like, I played a Pink Floyd song, the saddest Pink Floyd song, which I'm now blanking on, and I played it in the back seat, and I've just sat there with it, and I'm like, Adrian, I'm like, he kind of has a method. I don't want to take really any credit for what he did because he put himself in that mental spot. That you can't really. I think the director loosely has like, I need you to be sad, but I don't make him. He makes himself sad. I'm just telling him like, this is what I really want. I think something that does help if you are directing someone, you want them to look worried, is get them breathing fast. Like, right.
Yeah,
if you do that, it really makes it stressful to watch. Like especially if you haven't seen Sorrow's Grave. Spoiler alert. That obviously when he raises the gun. And we're not revealing, does he kill himself or not? That's up to you. We're not going to ever reveal that. It's your choice. Choose your own adventure. When he was raising that, it's a 50-second long take. And when I was watching it, I would literally stop breathing watching. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so intense. When
you see someone breathing, it just makes it, and then there's also like the music behind it that like it's starting to rise, it's starting to get more intense. And when you see that breathing, it's leading to something.
Oh, yeah, and you're like...
because when something starts to ramp up in speed or, like, intensity, you know something is going to happen. So when you see that person start to breathe in and out and in and out, and it starts to ramp up, you know something's going to happen. And I think that 50-second scene is insane.
Oh, yeah. And that's towards the end, and there was a lot. But if we take it back to how it happened, this movie originally, and for Sam and I'd say this is we're least proud of this. For some reason, it's weird.
Yeah, it looks better.
Everyone's saying it's like probably the best thing.
Yeah.
It's clear storytelling. It looks the best. And it's still, for me, I feel like I'm caught up, like, there's something missing from it. Like, It doesn't feel like I think the characters weren't established enough in A Vendetta's Debt. Like, Adrian's character, Marcellus, was not established enough in A Vendetta's Debt for me to care about him this much in Sorrow's Grave. That's, I think, where the problem is. And I don't know if people make that connection as hard as I do, but for me, it's like, this character never was supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. He changed completely overnight, which is, like, I struggle. That was, like, a big thing of, like, every day we would go to film, I would tell myself, let's get through this, practice the cinematography, the stories will be fine, this will do fine, the action will be fun, get ready for your next film. That's what I had to tell myself every day, because it was really like, we're committed, we're fully blown production on this, we have to finish it, but there was just a lot of doubt on the story early on. I mean, the story felt cool, and I wanted to tell it. When we were sitting down here, we sat down in my basement.
The way it happened is one night we just decided, what if we did a spin-off of Marcellus? And then from there, it kind of just took off.
And it grew to bigger. This was probably a bigger production than A Vendettas Debt.
Probably.
Because A Vendettas Debt was a lot of lucky, it's called like guerrilla filmmaking, where you just go out and film. Like, we're like, oh, this works. You go there. Now I'll go here. Yeah. Let's go do this. Let's go do this. This was like, here's the set day. Here's what we're doing. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can't go back to my grandma's house and film this scene right now. Yeah. Or like the gardens, everything was broken up.
There was a lot of days that got like moved around. Like the first day we ever shot didn't get used. We used it as a promo instead. Oh, yeah. We dug a grave and we just ended up not using it at all.
Because it was broad daylight.
Yeah, broad daylight. The graves were small.
It was a red car. Yeah. There's so many missing storytelling pieces that if you are coming from A Vendettas Debt, you're like, why is he throwing him in the grave in the middle of day? I think it helps starting at night. And I do wonder what the full 40-minute thing would look like.
I think people would still enjoy it. I just think
we would be like, it could.
There's missing puzzle pieces.
We can't keep patching these holes. Let's move on. Let's fresh for this new idea. I think if we were to go through the pros and cons before we jump into like scene by scene or behind the scenes or funny moments, is what were, at least for you, some of the pros of this movie and some of the cons, either storytelling wise or if you want to do behind the scenes or production.
Yeah. So I was like the coordinator in one of the Luke and I produced this movie together.
Well, yeah, because producers are weird. It's like you pay for stuff.
Yeah.
The story, you have a big influence on. It's like Sam didn't hire me to direct.
No. Yeah.
It was like it's a weird producer because you were more, it's like the coordinator.
Yeah, coordinator. There's a
million.
I was kind of like
six different things.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of different jobs. But there was definitely, I would say this was a great learning movie. I don't think.
Yeah. Which is all that really matters right now.
Yeah.
Young
because
and
we're
fresh.
still young. And one thing I will say is, so when I was at the commercial that we were filming, that I talked about last episode, we kind of like sat down at the end of the shoot and everyone was talking and everyone was like, they were almost like praising me for like being in so young. They were like,
welcome, child.
I wish I had been that young when I started.
That's what they said.
Yeah. Everyone was like, you are so ahead of the game, starting this young. You'll learn so much and like you'll make a ton of mistakes, but it's going to be so much better that you're making them when you're younger. So
yeah, by the time, think next year.
Yeah.
We always do this. Every year feels like the giant leap forward.
Yeah.
Like everything is starting to like come together. Like there's no doubt the next 5 movies are going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Like the 5th movie, the Christmas movie, the cherry on top, Sam and I want to make this nostalgic Christmas movie.
Oh, that's going to be... Luke keeps sending me these Instagram reels.
They're so
They
good.
literally give me chills every time.
I send Sam about 1 or 2 a day of the same thing. It's like the same thing, different.
And I love it every time.
Yeah, you're like, every time. Yo, I can't wait to make that movie. But that's amazing that they sat down and said like, and it's not just one of us.
No, and you're even younger than me.
Yeah. I forget.
I know.
I always forget I'm a year younger. And I think something that's really cool is Adrian said this, made me tear up while we were reading in his post. Suka is not just a brand, it's a family of, like, we are bringing people in.
Yeah, I got a little emotional. I didn't cry, but I got kind of close.
A little. Bringing people in is the reason it's fun. Yeah. I went to a financial advisor 2 days ago, and he said, what is the why? He asked me, he's like, where do you see yourself in 50 years? Oh, my friend, you were ready for something. I go,
here's the box he's opening.
No. Yeah, he had no idea. I was like, actually, I already talked about this on my podcast, but I'll do it for you. Okay, I'll just send you the link, actually. You can listen to it right now. I was like, well, I see myself owning multiple studios, multiple movie theaters, film festivals, creating movies still. Cream soda company, having multiple houses, clothing.
Multiple wives. I'm joking. No.
And then he was like, oh, okay. He's like, I can see you definitely have some dreams. And I was like, yes, I do. You don't know what I'm going to do. You know who I am. Do you know who I am? I'm Itachi. I'm Itachi Uchiha. And Sasuke's my brother. Little Naruto reference, might have lost about all of you on that one.
5% of people understood that.
Yeah, and for you, you're welcome. But like, it is a family of, I think our love. My mom told me something. She was like, you and Sam, your love of making stuff influences everyone around you to want to do that because you love it so much.
Heather, thank you.
I was like, that's so accurate though. We love it so much.
I think we just have such a different energy than like because like obviously it was a commercial, but like even looking at that, it was like super like job. It was like a job.
It's not even.
And obviously we're doing like a short film that we want to do, but like the amount of like positivity and like, oh my gosh, yes, this is incredible, and like we're like, thank you for being here. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for being a part of this, and like we just, I think. I'm not. Wow, this sounds really cocky now that I think about it. But also,
we always sound like this. We're just confident.
But I mean, like,
we're confident.
Yeah, but it's just
a little cocky.
We want people to love it as much as us, and we hope that they do
because it really fills the void.
It does
for so many things. I mean, it's like something to work towards constantly. I was talking to one of my friends, our friend Ilo, about this. He was like, I just want to grind something. It's like a video game, whatever it is. I just want to have something I'm working to. And I'm like, that's something, there's always something to like work at.
Yeah.
And without that, like once we just finished this and it's like, what's next? Like ready to go right away.
Yeah.
And like you're saying.
And we've already been working on production for the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've already been in contact with
all the
golf courses and, well, that does not make any sense why I just said that, but
yeah,
there's a set.
You'll see. And like this old breakfast place, it's Bert's, if you guys are wondering, name drop for everyone. We're talking like Herald Palladium, the newspaper. Sam's been doing an amazing job of. Sam has this incredible, you're just a beast at calling people.
I hate texting. I love to call. That's what I've learned.
An insanely positive thing because right now, no one our age likes to call.
No.
And the fact that you do, you probably will know everyone in this town by the end of the year.
I am talking.
Like the relationships you're forming, Sam's network of locations and places and businesses is going to be like I'm pretty sure we'll work with like it is so. I respect Sam so much for being able to just do. And I was thinking this the other day. Something I noticed in Starl's Grave was, like Sam saying, we're gonna make mistakes, and sure, in the moment it might feel like, oh my gosh, we can't deal, like this can't happen ever again or whatever. And that's when we have to learn, like, okay, that's why we're doing this, so we can learn.
Yeah.
We're not even the average, we're not even close to the average starting age. And we're arguably doing a lot more than most of those people.
And I mean, like, even if we started, let's say 23 we start at the same time, I think we would still be doing, without film school, the people that are in film school, no hate to you, I think we would be doing more than them.
But if we were in film school, we'd be doing it too.
Yeah,
it's like, that's what my dad would tell me. He's like, wherever you go, you're going to dominate. He's like, that's your mindset wherever you're going. So it's like, okay, there's no stress of where we're going to go. It's just focus on what's in front of us right now. And finishing, what I was going to say is, no matter what, I'm trying to think of a metaphor for this because I'm just a metaphor king. Okay, the $20, $5.
That was a great metaphor. The
You're
five,
welcome,
five,
world.
five,
You're
five,
welcome, world. Look
20.
great. No matter what, something happens that will mess up, or like we can bring down. Like, well, maybe we'll go super specific. I'll jump into everything I learned.
Yeah, and I'll go
especially
into mine
learn.
too. Yeah,
of like, oh, something wasn't right or something got messed up. Sam will go through a wall to make it A, better than it was at the beginning, or B, to immediately patch it.
those holes.
And that's and to show up the next day completely ignoring the past and ready to be back. Like, that's so, like, I'm so thankful to have someone to work with that doesn't make a mistake and give up on everything. Like, I've never seen Sam make a mistake and go, well, I'm going to give up, which is so many people I've worked with or done something, and they will make a mistake, and it is the end of the world. It's like, you can't give up on a mistake.
I made a lot of mistakes. What can I say?
But Sam, like, or even if I feel like if I asked Sam, I need you to run through 10 brick walls to grab me my camera lens, Sam would not even hesitate and blitz through the wall. And maybe this is a positive or a negative. Sam, jump off that cliff. Woo! No! But Sam has this willpower to get whatever, and it also makes that is so helpful as someone that's trying to, like, as I directed this, I was like, I never thought for 1 second that Sam would not be able to help me do, like, not be able to, if I needed something, to get it done. Or I don't know if that's even worded what I'm trying to say, of, like, it just felt like we needed to dig the graves, and Sam did not even hesitate to start literally the fastest digger. He's a farmer boy. He was literally shoveled. We dug the 4 hole, and Sam never once stops and says, and I don't think Sam's such a good person, he doesn't even think these thoughts of, hey, someone else should be helping me. Someone else. He's just like, I'm here to do this. Let's go.
I was pretty sweaty. I think I asked for help a couple times from other people.
Well, it's like, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's not like you're not thinking, oh, why am I doing this? You're thinking, this needs to be done. I'm going to do this. Which is, now take this however you will. I was thinking of the Bulls championship teams.
Okay.
There was Michael Jordan,
yeah,
Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman.
I'm okay with being Scotty or Dennis.
You're Scotty and Dennis combined.
I'm
taking MJ. Okay? I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, I'm a little bit of a freak psycho, like MJ. We're in the same category. But it would be this, like, in the basketball, Scottie Pippen, they never got the huge glamour. Dennis Rodman barely, he would get every rebound. If he made a mistake, he would clean it up. Like, I know this is getting basketball and it might get a little cheesy, but it's like, Michael Jordan does not even get close.
Call me Scotty Rodman.
Like, Michael Jordan is just a flashy player. I'm just a director and cinematographer. Once I get Sam, I feel like I can literally do anything.
This is I like this right now.
But I'm serious. Like, when it comes down, because sometimes, and I'll be honest about, like, I'm like, when some mistakes happen, because I get so lasered in on, I'm like, I don't know. This is, like, I'm like, well, do I know more? Sometimes feeling those, like, thoughts of, like, selfishness of it, I'm reminded so much that Sam's humility and will to just get things done is why I love making films with Sam. And why I love working, like, with Adrian. Adrian's the same way. Everyone that we worked with is the same way.
Yeah.
Of, if you are selfless and ready to go, you have a place at Suka Productions. Whether you know how to turn on a camera or not, it doesn't matter. We're building a team of people.
Yeah.
Our whole team doesn't even know what FPS means. Yes, maybe I do know that. Thank you. Okay, guys, I do know what FPS.
Most of us hopefully know what FPS means.
Yeah, maybe that was a bad. Maybe f-stop. Let's throw that number out.
F-stop.
Maybe people are like, what's an f-stop?
What's ISO?
You don't really need to
aperture?
Know. You don't need it. That's my job, okay? That's MJ's job, okay? Hey. But that was just, I got a little off there. I just wanted to say, before we jump into pros and cons, and I'll let you segue into, all right, tell them your mistake. And then because I need to think about what I would want to change as well. But just take that when Sam's saying this, know that these things are not, it's like Sam, he's just going to run through a wall. Sam's, if you need, like, Sam's the perfect, and we've been playing basketball.
Call me the Kool-Aid man. I'm running through those walls.
Call him the Kool-Aid man. He's running through those walls.
So, I mean, that, first off, thank you, Luke. That means a lot. We got a lot of love for each other.
You're welcome.
Obviously,
that's
Luke
$10, right?
Luke does an incredible job of directing, and I've said it one time, and I'll say it 1,000 times more.
Jeez.
He's got that mindset that he's not. Well, I almost said the D word. I'm not gonna say that.
It's a clean podcast here.
It's a clean podcast here. Luke's not a jerk. And
Sometimes.
a lot of directors. Well, I'm saying on set, a lot of directors can be like jerks and be like, do this right now, do this. But like, Luke keeps it light, but he is still directed, and he knows, and he's focused, but he doesn't make everyone feel pressured to like. I mean, obviously, sometimes stuff starts to like go like crazy, and you gotta like go. All right.
Whenever we get like more than 5 people, whenever we get more than 5 people, it gets very stressful.
Yeah, we've learned that we're not ready for a lot of people on set that are not part of the production. It's not.
No.
We don't have the right experience or
help. Like we need someone to be able to manage.
Either they need to be there to be like production assistants or like grips, but like that's off topic. But we're not ready for people to be on set like
that
in a
aren't
majority.
Gonna help at all. Or like
we want them to be there.
Yeah,
we're not ready.
We are not ready.
No,
it's too stressful. Like I was literally like that was one of the most anxious I've ever been was filming the poker scene.
Oh yeah,
and you can see there's a lot of my cons are going to come from sloppy camera work which this is the first time we used to try. Like this is the first time I used a tripod to do movement, and I've really been studying Spielberg's movement of cinematic composition. So if like 2 guys are if Sam and I are right here, the next person that comes in stands right in the middle. That's kind of like you can kind of see it. When I tried to do this specifically was when Bryce gets punched in the face and he holds the bottle up.
Yeah.
If you it's not done. The lighting in there was weird. It wasn't. That was so hard to film.
Yeah.
It turned out pretty cool. I think a lot of people that was either a highlight and even like the Raging Bull. So the fight scene was inspired completely by Raging Bull. If you haven't seen Raging Bull, it's like a black and white, basically fighting movie, and or like boxing, and all of the sound goes away, and you just hear, and it creates such a. Now, thank God I've edited for 6 years because that saved the shots were not there. I fumbled the shots completely. You can see some of them are out of focus and they're not even. It's hard. We don't have. It's called. Wow, that was a funny snap. I think it's actually called a nub for the tripod.
Oh yeah. I know
it's literally like a small tripod on the ground, and we didn't have that. So I probably could have used the monopod, but I was like, let me just hand hold this, and that's why I think getting a gimbal would be really helpful. Do you want me to jump into my stuff or my pros and cons, or do you just want to naturally...
Let me get into my cons.
Okay. Because I didn't want to cut you if you're going there.
Yeah. That's where I'm heading down this road.
That's our signpost where we're going.
So I started the pre-production, and this was my first time producing on anything. I guess I'll just talk to Luke.
Yeah, you talk to me. Don't worry.
This was my first time producing something, Luke. Did you know that?
I did, but I forgot it multiple times.
So I don't think that I had the right mindset going into it. I think that I had a little bit of a relaxed mindset at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Pre-production is, for my job, one of the most important times during the entire movie. Because during that time, I'm making sure everyone's ready, getting a schedule ready, getting everything that's needed for each scene, getting locations, everything like ready. And basically what I did during that time was like I sent out one text that was like, hey, can you film, or like what dates can't you be there? Yeah,
which is it's hard. Yeah. That's a very hard skill to know, like plan everyone's schedule.
Which I definitely think I know now. And I think that there was something I fumbled was having that. Because then some people responded and everyone's like, I'm good for those dates. And then I didn't like say, hey, do these dates work then? I just sent a text that said, hey, here are the dates.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, oh, I can't make it. And I was like, oh, but you said. And then I was like, okay, that's not their fault. I should have communicated what dates I need them for, then asked if everyone could be there.
And so it's also, sorry to cut you off, but it's also we're not working with professional actors. We're working with people that have
people call out.
Because
they're not getting paid.
It's not a paid thing. It's like a fun. You're here because you're supporting our friends or want to try act. Some of them are pursuing filmmaking, maybe a little bit. So it's like these people are not. They have jobs and lives. This is like it's hard to ask someone 6 hours out of their day to just come. Especially Adrian. Adrian works
landscaping
all week. Landscaping. Adrian works landscaping. He works 5 days a week. Wakes up at 8, gets out at 4 or 5 most days. Yeah. 5 days a week.
And
Adrian
showed up every day.
Show up right after.
Yeah.
And I know we don't want to go off Adrian. We do that every episode.
Every time we have a good actor, we go off on them
Adrian,
for the whole episode.
We're really proud of you. Okay.
Adrian, maybe we'll get you on here again.
Back to the cons. Because Sam's actually, if you're a producer or whatever your production coordinator, even if you're making a film, Sam is literally giving you gold right now.
And I think since the beginning of this, I don't want to say I've made leaps and bounds because they haven't been put into practice yet, but I think I've learned so much that the next project will be just crazy different. So another thing was props, and I had a list of props I had made, but I didn't really have, I didn't take the time to just go out and get them all at once and then have them laid out and organized.
That's when we talked about getting briefcases for our lights, for this is the props briefcase because it's very hard to carry that much stuff and just throw it places.
Yeah. And then another thing is it's 1:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Pitch blackout.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
Throwing stuff into my car.
Yeah.
And stuff gets lost. We fully lost the dog tag. I don't know where that went.
I don't even know if that was a Sam thing or we gave it to an actor.
Well, I'm production. I'll take responsibility for that no matter because either way, something that big, I should have at least had a backup.
Yeah, well, because the problem was that or not even a backup, it's that we lost it, and we didn't know we lost it until 20 minutes before, whatever the time. So having, the checklist after, that's
one thing that I learned is, so basically, the largest thing I learned is, obviously I knew organization was big, but organization is just, the most important thing. And already... So I've started working on production of American Dreamers a lot, and
which is the next film officially.
That's the next film, and I already have scene by scene, people, props, location written down, and what we'll need that day, and that's gonna be so helpful for me, to know that because I would basically go through the script and write down what I needed that day. And I would do it really pretty last minute. So it wouldn't give me a lot of time to prep it if I was like, oh, shoot.
I don't have
that.
Yeah.
And I got lucky a couple times with okay, I do have enough chairs. I thought I would have chairs from these people, but they don't have them anymore. And stuff like that. But then it ended up working out, which I'm thankful for. But that is a big thing is just having an organization system. And I think for productions in the future, it needs to be there's a place where everything goes.
Yeah.
And I think that the 9 to 12 shoots are just
that's a big thing we learned.
Good at all. It's bad for the actors. It's bad for us. We get tired. We start to get lazy. We start to miss things. It's just not the ideal time to film. And it makes sense why people start to film at 7 in the morning.
Which is another thing where I don't know. We might need to start at 8.
Yeah, because
I don't know. We're willing to do whatever it takes, honestly. But
another thing is we hate shooting in broad daylight. So we're that's another thing.
Yeah,
but
we avoid
whatever. That's just another thing.
Yeah, maybe we should consider shooting indoors during the day. But another thing is people work during the day. That was the thing. Adrian would work till 5.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And it's not Adrian, you need to cancel work. It's we know you got to work, so let's. And that's super demanding. And we like to get it done in 1 week.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, Christopher Nolan took almost a year to get his first feature out, and he'd shoot on weekends.
Yeah, a lot of people do that where they just shoot on weekends.
Which I think is good, but also we have, by doing almost a movie a month, we are learning.
Yeah.
We're
at such an accelerated rate of learning, I feel like.
Because it's like mistake,
Yeah.
go, buy new gear,
Yeah.
go. No hesitation to reinvest, no hesitation to go out and do something bigger. And it's like...
I'm just thinking you said no hesitation to invest.
Oh,
just bought that drone.
And I'm going to buy the gimbal. I'm trying to go slow. Yeah. I'm trying to pace myself.
No, I did it. It is smart to wait to invest, though, too.
Yeah.
Like, just slow down, because we don't need it that second.
Yeah,
Because Luke texts me and goes...
I was like, maybe September.
Maybe we should get the drone, and he's like, we could get the DJI Mini 3, and I'm like, all right, bought it.
And hey, now we have it.
Now we have it, and I'm playing with it.
It's a weird thing, like, when should we invest and stuff?
But I feel like Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Money sitting in accounts not doing anything for you.
Yeah, so reinvest, and I mean, it's already starting to pay off a lot. The brand's growing. Those, I agree fully with Sam on those production things, because it's not just Sam, it's both of us of knowing we need to organize, we need to do this.
But as the producer and as the person setting it up, it's important to say, all right, here's where it goes. It's not, is there an organization system? It's, here's the organization system.
And another thing is we need to have more of a streamlined of like checking each other of, did you have that? Like, not, eventually we want it to be where we don't have to say anything, but also I think it could help also to get your input on what is happening in the movie as the producer of like, Luke, what if we didn't shoot that like this? What if we tried changing this scene to work this way? Even if we don't do it, just having that like creative loop back and forth. Now I'll jump into my pros and cons, which is you guys are in for a little bit of like 15 minutes. So I'm going to go scene by scene, storytelling wise. So this is the first time I used our new tripods are so sweet.
Okay,
they're fluid
before
head
Luke goes
tripods.
into this, we bought a frick ton of new gear.
Oh, yeah.
New lens, 2 new cameras, 2 new tripods. What
new
else?
mics.
Oh, yeah, new mics. I think that's it.
It's like $10,000
easily
worth of stuff easily. It's very well worth it.
Yeah.
Our production has stepped up tenfold easily.
From going from a Canon M50 to the
R6.
The new R6 II. Because I bought the R6.
Crazy. Oh yeah, Sam bought the wrong. But it's crazy. 4K. You can't beat 4K.
No. I mean, just insane.
You can see the shots. I do think I have a pretty good eye for shots.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some money shots in there, but what I didn't do is I've really been studying camera movement. If I'm using a wide shot, it's because I want you to focus on. So like a wide shot in the most plain terms, and I'm still figuring it out, is if you have a wide shot, whether it's moving or not, you're focusing on the environment and the person in it. If you're focusing and moving with the person, like we have a gimbal and we're following Adrian throughout these scenes, we're focusing how he feels in this moment. And there was none of that going through my head. I was more capturing, how do I want to show his face, which is fine and it works, but I want to get it down to like a Kara Kurosawa level of every single frame in this movie has an intentional beat to it. I want to really pace of like wide. Now we're following him. We follow this actor of like in A Vendettas Debt, there was almost no movement, which was like, scenes are meant to have a beginning and end.
Yeah.
Like, here's the first composition on Sam's face. Then it goes to both of us. And I was learning of who controls the scene. It stays on, like in the poker scene, it should have been on Adrian almost the whole time. Maybe people are talking to him, but he's always in the frame. We're focusing on Adrian. And I should have given you more power by shooting maybe lower to make you more of like this imposing figure. It's always like if you shoot down on someone, it makes them look small and like scared.
Yeah.
Shoot up, it's like they're more afraid or more big and like scary.
Which at one point we had the camera. These tripods go very high.
Oh, it was
so
funny.
The tripod at the max height, and
so
we're pointing it down at Adrian.
Don't you have a funny photo? Maybe if you remember, throw it in here. But if not, it doesn't
I don't think I
matter.
have a photo of it, but
You sent it to the group chat. Me standing.
Oh,
on it,
yeah,
with holding it down. So I am proud of how it was shot. Like pretty.
Oh, it looks good. I think
everyone
everyone has been amazed by the visuals and has been impressed by that. That's what every single person has said.
And I think now directing wise, I've struggled a lot with, this is such a big mistake. And like Sam and I are saying, these mistakes happen.
We're
so
19
we
and 20.
We literally can. And we're working with not even professionals.
Yeah.
So it's like these are learning things. So
once
we get to that spot, and I think it's not going to be once we get to that spot, we forget. It's like we're building it up. So we're kind of always in the control seat of what we want to make, which is really fun, and we're really grateful for it. Is on especially in the poker scene, and I know you definitely noticed this, and everyone did, of saying, "What's your line? What's your line?" It's not your job. It's your job to know. Maybe like maybe you or Adrian probably needs to know, hey, this is the pacing because I read this a day before, or like if I get lost every once in a while. But I would literally, and that could break down to we need to have an exact script each day and know we have paper script. I need a paper script from now on, and I cannot work off the phone. I get very stressed out. I hate scrolling. There's notifications popping up. My brain can't focus because it's very overwhelming for me. At least
and
in
it
this
turns
stage.
Off. You have to pull it up 1,000 times.
Yeah, and I also something I did in Stu is I would cross out the line once we were done shooting it. Once I liked the shot, and I could go bit by bit and learn. Here's where we're next. Here, because Stu actually was pretty efficiently filmed, and it actually looks pretty good.
Wait,
Stu
was it 1 or 2?
It was 1.
Did we even use the first?
No, that was just a dud.
So it was basically 1 day.
It was basically 1 day. So having the script physical, I'm going to need that. And that's also a note hey, it's your job to know what I like.
Yeah.
So it's I'm communicating. I'm not just but I think I need that I do need it.
Yeah.
Because I really lacked on saying, and also, I was rewriting a lot of it. I didn't like how it sounded, so I'd rewrite it the day before, and it was very difficult. It was well, what new copy? It's I need to have script 1, script 2, script 3, and it's if I have the printed copy and if we have the most current copy with us, that's such a game changer. That for this movie, we almost never had the paper script. We did. I will say the morning was kind of the poker scenes when I really was wow, I'm stupid. This is painful that I didn't print this out, or I didn't give you the exact, say, here's the right one. Because maybe it's hard for you to know what is even the right one.
Yeah, because it was 30 minutes before.
Yeah, we were hey, can you print these out? So
it's rushed. I got 4 scripts, printed them out, and then stapled them, got them together.
Yeah, and we realized.
And then I printed the wrong one. I had printed out the
because it was called.
Original.
Yeah, there was a bunch. There were some sent to the different group chat. There's a lot to keep track of. So we need to really lock down on back and forth. Is this the right one? Yes. Let me double check. I should have double checked and said, here's the one if I'm asking you to print. So there's a lot of things we probably each could have maybe done better.
Yeah.
But having that paper, directing wise, I did not. I feel I'm still trying to learn how much you can, in my mind, I want to be someone that can take, someone Adrian's never acted for and elevate. I want to elevate every single, and I think I can elevate a lot of people to, explaining it in a way that would make sense to someone who's not a professional. But there's a lot of I need to know what someone is capable of doing and need to put them in a position to do their best. If I have an actor who just doesn't have what it takes to talk, I need to show that through a visual thing. And I really lacked on, it helped that we were focusing on Adrian for a lot of it because it was one-on-one a lot of the time. And I also need to do, I had some really lazy coverage on, and some of this is also, I learned a lot as a writer too, of dialogue. I was watched Raiders of the Lost Ark again. Eleanor wanted to watch it, and I was like, all right, fine. And I'm picking up on so much. There's the dialogue in there. I want to focus on when characters are in a place, what they actually would say versus relying on the dialogue to move the story. Obviously, you need dialogue in the movie, and I fumbled a huge, why is Adrian parked at this poker place? The wide shot was the worst wide shot I've ever shot. It was at broad daylight, or not, it was no sunset because we had
right
the
after
fog.
The Crimson Cafe lady.
Oh, we'll get to her. But there was the fog, which we had fog from the wildfires in Canada, I think, and then moved to Detroit
Canada.
and was moving over. So our sky was just bright white.
Yeah.
So Adrian was literally disappearing, with our filter. That's another thing. Maybe don't use the Pro Mist filter for a while.
There's lens filters, and they the one we have is the Pro Mist filter, and it basically creates more glow on light.
Like a filming.
Yeah, and Luke has a fourth or a half.
I have a half, and you have a full.
I have a half, and I have a full, and Luke has a half. And I had just gotten the 18 to 35 Sigma lens, and the one was on it, so it already broad daylight.
That was the garden work because we had the ND filter.
Oh yeah,
which made it darker. Which also it's not the highest quality. It basically is darkening the image so you can keep your shutter speed, which is how
that thing's so fun
your
to play
motion
with.
blur. You don't need to know any of that, or maybe you do. Maybe you want to.
If you ever
Make
get
sure
your
you get an
hands on one of
expensive
those.
ND filter if you're a filmmaker, is basically the moral of. And there was a lot of like, we only had one take on your audio where if you noticed you voice crack at the end, and I only had one take of that, and I didn't cover it right. And maybe, I think a lot of it could be solved by a fresh story and a solid, like a script that's completely done.
A lot of the problems were
rushed.
Yeah, kind of rushed, but I think that rush came from just exhaustion of this universe. Yeah. That sounds so...
It does.
But I mean, like, the Vendettas debt universe.
Whoa!
Exhaustion of the universe.
Dude, this exhaustion is crazy.
But I'm talking about the Vendettas debt universe.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, we were so exhausted. It was like,
I mean, the original plan for Sorrow's Grave was it to be, like, a 5-minute short. Where, like, Marcellus gets, like, super, like, edgy and, like... Or, like, he just gets super sad and then he kills himself.
Yeah, it was going to be super edgy... Which I don't know why it always goes there.
This next one is not
light.
and
it's very fun.
We're
Scott
looking
Port is
a lot
also
more.
in it, everyone.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're listening. I know everyone. If you made it this far, you get excited about that.
Bless you.
And there's a lot of, I think, storytelling-wise, I can still get a lot better, obviously, about making you care about these characters. And I don't know if that comes from writing. I don't know specifically of... And I also haven't even had time to sit and look at what I wish I would have changed.
Yeah. I mean,
this edit was so intense. This is 1 week of...
The edit was finished, what?
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. So then...
Or really Monday, like 3 hours before. Because editing, you need to have like a couple weeks. Because
we did
it needs
not
to
give...
sit
We
and
gave it
think.
a horrible schedule, if we're being honest.
It was shot for like 2 weeks. We had 3 days we didn't even use.
So yeah, we had a lot of days where we just scrapped them completely, which those days exist still, and we're still tired
working,
from those days.
Charging, getting everything ready.
And that is exhausting when that happens. I think that there was a lack of just like, not organization, but
like
almost
patience, kind of.
Yeah, I think that we were both like, gotta happen today. Gotta happen today.
But without that drive, we also are not, we would not sit here right now. You would not have learned that. I would not have learned this.
Yeah,
and
that
there's
is
also
true.
a lot we're just not thinking of right now.
Yeah. I mean, it literally came out yesterday, and we've looked at it.
Yeah.
For
I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And there's a ton. I think sound editing wise, I'm getting better. I learned that I need to make sure that I'm getting coverage of audio. One of this, Sam gave me this sweet film book, and it has film quotes in it. One of the quotes was, if it didn't happen on camera, it was worded like, if it didn't happen, I'm wording it what I took from it. If it didn't happen on camera with that audio, it didn't happen. Only use audio from what happened. Which I don't think is completely how I want to be a filmmaker. I think added audio can really strengthen.
I think it adds like a lot to a scene if
I
there's
do
like
too.
background noise. Like if you don't have a crowd behind
they're
it, you can
they're
make
not
it sound
saying
like there is.
don't have that noise. They're saying don't bring in fake like Foley noise, which is like or Foley, whatever it's called. Like din 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 din, like a right.
Now we're just making sound effects.
But like they said it, so I don't know if I fully, but I at least need the coverage of like when Adrian gets thrown out of the poker place.
Yeah.
That audio is not like I missed that the door doesn't even open there. I also had a very bad cut as he's digging the graves. If you notice, you really can't notice because I did a camera move kind of having like it cuts weird. So there's a bunch of little hindsight things that I believe probably it's very grueling to edit the same thing that many days in a row. And I have already been, after we'd film, I would cut all of the stuff and edit it. It was just painful to play back an 18-minute movie over and over again, trying to see every mistake, trying to also think of what would make this better. I'm already tired of this thing. I want to get this out because if you notice, we didn't really market it this hard at all.
No, yeah.
This was marketed maybe like a pretty good amount.
I think we were kind of being intentional with the like very limited marketing, but also like we were just kind of exhausted of it. Because we had felt like in Vendettas Debt, we had kind of just overloaded, like in just like push, which actually for the movie ended up working.
Yeah, well, the problem was, and this is me because I'll do our marketing stuff, and I was just putting out. In my mind, I was like, I'm gonna maximize and that was a learning moment. Good marketing sometimes is giving a little bit and then backing up. If they like it, they'll be interested. And every project does not need that much marketing.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have a couple videos or show a scene, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I think when you give too much, while it can generate maybe a little bit more, you're exhausting those. Like a lot of people, I think probably were still exhausted from a Vendettas Debt.
Yeah.
I think people were like, oh, this is a new story. But maybe if there wasn't as much marketing in Vendettas Debt, then they would have been more interested in this because it's more of what they liked.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like little marketing things and stuff we've learned.
And then also there was going to be, which this was kind of built into the marketing of it, is we were going to put it all together and then put it in the movie theater.
Yeah, that was going to be a big.
So like, I had gotten in touch with 2 theaters, Wonderland in Niles, and then the Celebration in Benton Harbor, and we were ready to drop $750 to rent out the movie theater, and then Luke said, "Was it your dad that kind of?"
He kind of told me. I was kind of thinking. He was like, I think it's a great idea. $750 is too much. He goes, that's for, you got to use that for your gear and keep making stuff. It's like, why? He's like, I think it could be really fun. I think it could be really cool. And I think Vendettas Debt is cool. But he's like, why not wait a couple months and premiere something that you think is the greatest thing you've ever made? If you're not fully confident in this, and if you're worried about patching holes, don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, then it's like, all right, let's breathe. We just spent a ton of money on a premiere. Our own like Suka premiere.